Okay, ladies, the Sephora sale starts on Friday for those of you who are rouge. And then depending on the tier, each week more people can shop and you get less of a percentage off each time around. I'm not going to go into that because this is not a Sephora VIB or Rouge sale video. What this is a Sephora collection video. And I really like to do Sephora collection videos before the Sephora sale starts because it doesn't matter what tier you are. You don't have to be an insider or VIB or Rouge to shop the Sephora collection. Starting on the 14th, which is this Friday, April 14th, anyone can shop the Sephora collection and receive 30% off whatever they purchase. So I think that's great. And that's what I like to shop during the Sephora sale because, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think the Sephora sale is all that great. Even if you're VIB Rouge, you get, is it 20% off? Yeah, 20% off. And even brand websites like Charlotte Tilbury or Huda Beauty, they have 20% off sales at various times throughout the year. And with Mother's Day coming, a lot of brands will be having their own sales, so everybody can receive a discount. So I don't really think it's that great of a sale. I think that there are some luxury or higher end items that you like to have in your collection or that you really want to try and you are Rouge and can get the 20% off, more power to you. But I think that the Sephora collection is amazing. And I have looked at labels on the products that I purchase, and they seem to be all created in either the US, Italy, Canada, Germany, and a few in China, which makes me wonder why they say that they're cruelty-free, because if they are sold in mainland China, they have to undergo China's animal testing. But I have read, and I don't know this for a fact, that when it says the ones that are in China, it's that they are packaged in China, that the product gets its packaging from China. So I don't know. There's that. And I do a lot of Sephora collection videos, mainly around the sale time. I always do a look using products from the Sephora collection because I am a big fan, and there are some absolute must-haves in my collection that are staples, and I stack up on them during the sale. But I also like to try new things that Sephora releases as well. So that sale is going to start on Friday, April 14th, and everyone, even if you've never stepped foot in a Sephora before, can receive 30% off. Now, I do want to mention that if you do want to shop the Sephora collection, I always go online beforehand and put products in my cart. And I am a night owl, so I'm often up past midnight. So when the sale starts, I just buy them because certain things do sell out. For example, the lip products that I absolutely love are lip creams and this like kind of balmy type lip product that I love. Some of the popular colors will sell out, not in minutes or hours, but usually within the first couple days of the sale. So definitely, if there's something you're wanting, don't procrastinate. And the brow products, I love. Those don't typically sell out, but I stack up on those things. The lip liners are really nice. I just cannot say enough. And not only do I do a Sephora collection, get ready with me prior to the sale, but I'm always pulling in Sephora collection products into other videos because sometimes it's really great to have those staples like the brow products or eyeliners and things like that because they're really spectacular and nobody knows if you're using Urban Decay for $30 or using Sephora collection for $9. So it's definitely a good way to save money on those staple products, and they're every bit as good as high-end, in my opinion. So I'm just going to jump in and do this makeup look for you, and I'm going to talk about these newer products, and I'm going to tell you what I really like, what I don't like, and what I would recommend. So let's just jump in and get started. First thing I'm going to do is apply my foundation. The only thing I have on my skin right now is like a multitasking moisturizer, an antioxidant, and sunblock in one. So that's what's on my skin, and I am a little bit broken out. I've been broken out ever since I got back from vacation a couple of weeks ago. I have a big blemish here, and I have one here and like a few little ones. And so we'll see how this foundation covers my blemishes. It is the best skin ever, and a lot of women really like this. It gets a lot of buzz on YouTube. It is a really good foundation from Sephora. Is it the best foundation I've ever used? No, I think it's just a really good foundation though, and I'll tell you more about it. It does have a pump. It does come in approximately 50 shades, so you should be able to find your shade match. And I always use my hand as a palette, so it isn't runny. It just kind of comes out in like a little glob. And then I do have a foundation brush from Sephora that I got a couple of months ago, and it's this number 70. They do have several foundation brushes, but mine is 70, and this is right now my favorite foundation brush. I'm even picking it up more than my Artis Oval brush that is like way more expensive. I think this retails for $30, but it'll be 30% off on the 14th. So it's a good brush, and I really like how dense the bristles are, and I don't know, it does a beautiful job of applying my foundation. So I'm just gonna pick up some of this and kind of just apply it to one side of my face at a time, because with this foundation, I do find that it kind of dries down quickly, and so I can't do what I do with some of my foundations where I dab it all over and then blend it. I can, but it just gets a little bit harder to blend after it's been sitting for a minute. I've heard really good things about this foundation from women with all skin types. It does give you a medium skin-like finish so that it's not matte and it isn't radiant, and it does have hyaluronic acid in it, and it has red and green algae for firming and antioxidant properties. So it does have some skincare in the formula, and I really don't have any complaints. It's long wearing, so it will stay put all day. I've worn it all day several times, and I haven't had any problems with it breaking up on me or anything like that. And I do have a combination oily skin type, but I'm mature. So, you know, you gotta take all that into consideration. I'm 54, so I do have a little bit of texture on my skin. I do have some enlarged pores, and it doesn't really accentuate anything. I don't think that it makes my skin look amazing. It just looks like my skin, and it is like a nice medium coverage, so it doesn't look like I'm wearing foundation. So I think that's the appeal to a lot of ladies, is that it just looks like your skin. I always take a little bit down on my neck to make sure everything's matching. I think a lot of ladies like that. It just looks like you're not wearing any makeup, but it does conceal imperfections. My foundation is in the shade 15.5, and it's a neutral. So I did pick up the concealer, and this is a multi-use concealer, full coverage, and it is called the Best Skin Ever. So it's the companion concealer to the foundation. The foundation, like I said, is a medium coverage, and this is a full, and it says that it's a liquid like cream and that it's multi-use. So I suppose if you don't like wearing foundation, you could use something like this, but it is a fuller coverage. I haven't tried it yet, and I hope I picked the right color. I picked 11.5P, so pink undertones. I was having a little bit of trouble finding my my exact color because they have neutrals, they have yellows, and then they have pinks. This is stationed over by where you pay, and so they always use the lady that rings people up as the lady who helps with the Sephora collection, which is right there. I'm sure all the other sales ladies would be happy to help, but I didn't want to go drag someone over there. So I just did my best. So I have 11.5P, and it looks like it's going to be okay. It almost looks like it still is a little bit yellow, but we'll see. I was finding that to be the problem, that the shades all looked a little too yellow or golden for me, but I think this will be okay. And what I'm noticing is it's more liquidy than the foundation. It's funny because the foundation was like that thicker consistency, and you would expect it to give more coverage, but it's a medium coverage, and this is a thinner consistency. And so anyway, it's a full coverage. So I'm just gonna dab it on my big pimple. And it does look a little yellow. It looks a little more yellow than the foundation. One of the claims that they make for the foundation is that it is hydrating, and I've worn this lots of times before, and it doesn't dry out my skin, but it doesn't necessarily, I don't know, it doesn't have like a lot of hydrating properties in it, in my opinion, either. Okay, so I'm just gonna dab a little of this right here where I get some shadows. I think I got the shade that would like match my skin perfectly. Like it just kind of blends right in like nothing at all. I'm just gonna cover my freckles a little bit just to see, because I wanna see how much more coverage I can get with this. But normally I wouldn't, because I really don't mind my freckles showing through. I feel like that's part of the beauty of a skin-like foundation that isn't full coverage, is that you do have some of your, I don't know, some of your imperfections. Freckles, moles, pimples. I don't like my pimples to show ever, but I don't mind my freckles. Okay, that does give me a little bit more coverage. I wouldn't call it a full coverage necessarily. I suppose I could build it up, but if you're someone who needs like a really full coverage, like there's something that you just really want to make sure stays covered, or you just really enjoy a good full coverage, I don't know. I don't know. I don't find it to be a full coverage. I would say both are a medium coverage right out of the gate. So yeah, new product. I'm not unhappy with it, but we'll see. It's my first time using it, and it's hard to judge a concealer on the first time using it. So I'll see how it does during the day, if it accentuates fine lines, wrinkles, or rubs off, and all that other nonsense. And I'll let you know down in the description box, since this is my first time using it. I fell in love with Sephora's brow products a few years ago when I was using the retractable brow pencils from Lancome, and they are $30. So I'd always be looking for a sale and picking them up when they were on sale, but they were still like $25 even on sale. So I took one of my retractable brow pencils from Lancome to Sephora, and I drew a line on my hand with it, and then I color matched it, and I found two that I really like. One is Rich Chestnut, which matches my Lancome one perfectly, and now I also have Auburn, and they are like a retractable brow pencil with a spoolie on one end, and this part that's retractable, and it's waterproof, and it performs exactly like the Lancome one that I loved. No difference whatsoever. And these are waterproof, which I know is so important to so many of us as we age and we lose brows, or we're just covering grays and things like that. And even if you're 20, you don't want your brow product washing off or rubbing off during the day, and these will stay put. And then a relatively new product from the past year or so is the Waxy Brow Pen, and they look like this, and they are like this slanted waxy product. It is kind of waxy when you apply it, but it doesn't clump or anything like that on me, and it does have the brush on the other end, since it is a little bit waxier than the pencils I just showed you. So sometimes you do need to kind of comb it through a little bit, but it works just fine, and I really like this a lot as well, and I do have mine in the shade Auburn, and it works well with my hair color. So that's another product from the brow range that I like. And today I'm going to be trying a new product. I'm not sure if it's new at Sephora, and it is like their Fiber Brow Mascara. It's a volumizing product for fluffy brows, and I've never tried this before. I have tried the brow wig from Too Faced, which is a similar product. I did choose Auburn, but it says on here Auburn Brown. So I hope it's gonna work for me. And it has this teeny tiny little brush. As you can see, it does look a little red. So I think that's a good sign for me. And it did come in probably like 5 or 6 shades, a blonde, several browns, this Auburn brown, and then a couple darker shades. So this is the one I selected, and let's just go in and see how it does. So what I typically do is kind of comb the product into my brows. This is a little bit darker than I expected on my brows. I thought it would look more golden, and it definitely looks more brown. I hope you guys can see that. it doesn't look as red on my brows as it does on the little brush. I'm just gonna kind of fill them in. I mean, it doesn't look like I expected. I kind of wish it was more auburn, because to me, it looks kind of like just straight up brown on my brows, but it doesn't clump or leave any like large drops of like residue that I need to comb out. And so that's good. And so it does feel like it's a little bit, I can feel that coolness, like it's a little bit wet. So I'm gonna let that dry. So the new palettes that Sephora has released are the Destination eyeshadow palettes, and they all look really beautiful. And I didn't know which one to try, but I ended up going with the Go West palette, which looks like this. And the colors on this palette right here are exactly the colors that are on the inside. It does have a nice mirror. The packaging is as nice as any other packaging that you would purchase from Sephora, minus like the metallic cases and things like that. The nice like durable cardboard packaged palettes, it's every bit of the quality. And this is what the palette looks like. And it has a mix of light, medium, and dark browns. It has this kind of reddish brown here that's a shimmer. And it has this teal green shimmer. And it has a gold metallic. And then this nice buff transition shade. And the reason I selected this one is because it reminded me a whole lot of the Go West palette from Wild West, the Wild West palette from Urban Decay, especially the Wild West mini palette. The larger palette has a lot more shades in it, and you might want to try that palette. But the mini Wild West palette, I think that this would be a better option. And these retail for, I think, $15, $12 or $15. So I'm just gonna do a simple look for you. I have used this twice before already, and I'm very impressed with the quality, like I have been in the past with the Sephora collection. I feel like the quality is like high-end quality, but at a drugstore price, and I think that's great. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take a crease brush, and I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is a transition shade, and I'm just gonna apply it to my crease and above my crease. Now I'm just going to take a brush that's good for like packing on color. It's really dense, and I'm going to take this middle shade right here, which is kind of like a red color. It's like a reddish brown, and I'm going to pick that up and apply this like right here on the outside. I'm just going to drag it into my crease. And this shade is a really dark shade, but it has no kick up and it's not patchy at all. And those are things I look for in mattes, especially deeply pigmented mattes. Now I'm going to take this shimmery shade right here. Look how pretty that is. These metallics or shimmers you could wear just as like a one and done, and it would be so, so pretty. And I'm just going to pick that up with the same brush that I used to do the outer corner. And I'm just going to pack this on over what I've already applied. So we're having such a beautiful day today. I've actually started something new. I've been walking my dog Rosie a lot, and I've been kind of doing some jogging with her because she loves to run. So I walk her, and I'm doing like a walk, run, walk kind of thing to build up my endurance and get in better shape. And I've been really enjoying it a lot, and Rosie really needs it too because it helps her get her wiggles out. And she's still a young dog. She's only 4, so she still has a lot of energy. So it's good for her too to get that energy out. So now I'm taking this gold shade right here. So pretty. And I'm just applying this to the center of my eyeball. And I'm going to just buff that in and drag it a little bit to the inner corner, but not completely in the inner corner. Now I'm taking a smudger brush like this, and I'm going in with this teal shade, which is so, so pretty, and just picking that up And I'm going to drag this underneath my lower lashes and bring it up to meet like where I brought that reddish metallic shade up to. Sephora makes some great liquid eyeliners. They're not only waterproof, but they have a felt tip, and it's kind of a long felt tip, so it's really easy to line your upper lash line and make a little wing. And they're so good. I have these in pretty much all the colors now. I have the brown, I have the slate, I have black, and I have a plummy shade here and a forest green. The forest green is the newest one. I just got it yesterday, and the plum I've been using with this look, and I love it. So I'm gonna go with the forest green today, but I haven't tried it. I have tried the plum, and it's so beautiful. It looks so pretty with the colors on the top, and then you've got the green on the bottom. But I want to try something different today, and I hope I like this as much. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the forest green. They do have a bead in them, and whenever there's a bead in a product, I always think that means they want me to shake it. So I always give it a good shake. And these will not budge until you wash them off. They are really waterproof. So I'm just going to line my upper lash line, and as you can see, it's a very fine-tipped brush. And you could see how easy that was to apply because it is so fine tipped, and it isn't an overly wet formula. It is a little bit wet, but not so wet that it's messy, or, you know, you don't have to do any cleanup. And you can keep going back over that line and build it up to the right amount of depth, or as large of a wing or lash line as you want. I'm sure there's a better way to say that, but I think you understand what I'm saying. It's very easy to use. And so that's the forest green. And like I said, I tried it with the plum yesterday, and I really liked that. I think this is pretty too. Now I'm gonna apply the Size Up mascara, and this is their newest mascara from the Sephora collection. I also like the Lash Craft mascara, but this one is a really volumizing mascara, and I really like it. I don't have any complaints about it. It does have this giant, like, big brush, and it's okay. I mean, I don't have any complaints about it. It's not so large that it's difficult to use. It's still, you know, easy to use it. And this doesn't clump, even though it is a very volumizing mascara. Sometimes they can be a little clumpy when you first apply them. There is a lot of suction as you pull the brush out, so it does kind of pull off a lot of product, which helps. And I've had this a while. I think I've had this particular tube for at least a year. It's probably getting down to the bottom, and I should just use it up so I don't end up wasting it. But that's one coat. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the rest of my face. And so I already shared with you the 7D brush that I love for foundation, but I also picked up another brush, and this also retails for $30, but it will be 30% off on Friday and throughout the weeks of the sale. And this is the Sephora Pro Brush Bronzer number 80. And it's a big fluffy brush. And I've always been attracted to this brush because they have it out on display, and it just looks so big and fluffy that I just want it in my collection. And so this is how it's packaged, and then you just pull off. Ooh, it's really sealed up in here. If I can do that and set all the bristles free so you can see how beautiful this brush is. And it's very big, fluffy, and soft. And it's a bronzer brush, and I never use such a large brush for my bronzer. I always go with something like, I don't know, way less fluffy. So I'm hoping that my bronzer will look spectacular when I'm done. I feel like it's just so big, but let's see. So I'm gonna use my Sephora Contour and Highlight Palette. And I'm just gonna use this shade right here, which is sort of a grayish brown as opposed to the really golden brown, because I'm not self-tanning very much right now, and this would look a little bit more natural, I think. Or maybe I'll just get a blend of the two. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of this, and I have it on my fluffy brush, so let's just see. I just go down my neck too and make sure everything matches. I definitely wouldn't use this brush for contouring because it's too large to get into, like, to chisel out those areas where we typically contour. So this is strictly for bronzing, but I really like it. I really like it a lot. It feels so good. It's so soft. Sephora does not make this anymore, but this is a Sephora fan highlight brush that I got years ago. And I really love this a lot too. And I'm just gonna pick up the lightest kind of highlight shade and just apply that like right above where I bronzed. And this isn't really like a very highlighty highlighter. It's really just more like an ethereal powder that's really light. It doesn't have like any strobe to it really. So really it's probably best for like right in this area here, the inside of my face, like right here. To kind of accentuate where I bronzed, you know, it kind of lightens up the inside of my face, and I bronzed on the outside of my face. And I'm gonna take a little bit more. I'm going very light-handed as I brush it across the shades. I have to go with a very light touch because my skin is so fair that I can easily start to look muddy if I use too much. I do really like this little palette a lot. It's great for traveling because most of my bronzers are either packaged in a thicker, kind of more deluxe package, or I have like my MAC palette and it's thin, but it's still rather large. So this is great for traveling. I do have two blush highlight palettes from the Sephora collection, and this one is Gleam, and everything's kind of light and cool, and this blush is so pretty. Look how pretty this is. It really won't suit the look I have going on today, which makes me really want to go back and get kind of the rosy pinker palette when the sale starts, so I can use this one with that look. But this one's really nice. And when I want to use warmer shades like I'm using today, I have this one, and it's called Dream, and it does have your highlight, and it does have like this really kind of orangey coral shade right here, not really pink at all. And then it has one that has some shimmer to it. So this one's more of a matte, and this is like definitely like to put a little highlight in a complementary color on top of that. So we're gonna use this one today since everything's already pretty warm, and I'm gonna go with a really light touch. So I'm using like a small Luxie blush brush. Real Techniques makes some nice ones too. And I'm just gonna very carefully pick up this color because it's a pretty dark color, as you saw, and just get a little bit and start with the apples of my cheeks and just kind of bring it back. And I like to use this very kind of small dual fiber brush and hold it way back here, because if you hold it close up, it kind of puts down a lot more color. But when you're going with a really light hand, even with eyeshadow, it's best to hold your brush really far back and then just slowly build. You can always add more, but it's really hard to take it away when you have too much. Now we're just gonna pick up a little bit of that more highlighty coral shade and just go over the tops of my cheekbones. That's very pretty. It's very kind of strobe-y and highlight. A really pretty highlighter. Two of my absolute favorite products from the Sephora collection are their long-wearing lippies, and this is like their long-wearing lip stain or lip cream, and I share these with you every single time that I do a Sephora collection review. I think they're just the best, and I actually was carrying this in my purse, so I've got it right now out of my purse. And then another favorite are the lipsticks that look like this. These are very, very hydrating and balmy, and I shared this one with you in my last Sephora collection video, and I will link this. It's really pretty. It's so hydrating, and it's hard for me not to use those two products because I love them so much. But I did pick up a lipstick from the new range of lipsticks that Sephora has. And these are satin lipsticks, so they're not matte. And they're supposed to be fairly long wearing, but hydrating and creamy at the same time. And then I also picked up just this little tiny, in the grab and go bins, these little Sephora lip liners. It's just a little pencil, and it looks like this. And it's like truly a nude shade. Yeah, it's definitely truly a nude, but it feels really creamy on my lips, and it was easy to apply. It's like kind of a creamy consistency, but not so creamy that I'd be worried that this tip would break off very easily. So yeah, it's nice. So I have this lipstick in the shade 06, and this is what the container looks like. And it just twists up like your typical lipstick, and it's a pretty nude shade. Really pretty. And so let's see how it looks. It feels very, very creamy. It looks much more nude in the container than it does on my lips, but my lips do have a lot of a purplish color to them. So let's see. That's how that looks. And yeah, I guess it does look like that on. It looks much more nude in the container, but it's definitely more like a pinky nude. Pinky peachy nude. Okay, so this is the finished look. And let's just do a little recap. I absolutely love this little palette. I had been eyeing the Urban Decay Mini West palette, the one that has the green tones in it, and the larger one, but I didn't need the larger one in my collection. So then I was looking at the mini one, and that didn't get great reviews. So I was kind of like, I was hesitant to spend the 30 bucks. But this is really great, and it does retail for $15, and you can get 30% off. So I think that this is a real win. I definitely would love to have more of these mini palettes in my collection and some of the other shades. This is really, really nice. It's not patchy. It doesn't have a lot of kick up. The colors blend very nicely, and I think it's a really pretty little palette. So I already knew that I love the contour and highlight little mini palette. I've had this in my collection for a long time. This is the second one because I went through the first one, and I love these little blush and highlight mini palettes. They're really nice, and they are too really good for travel. So when I take like my pocket palettes, or now this little destination palette, if I was going away, I would just like stack them, and I put a rubber band around them and then just drop them in my travel cosmetics case so nothing gets broken. But they're very slender, fairly compact, and easy to travel with. I also like these little blushes from the Sephora collection as well. I didn't want to share this one today because I think I used it in another video, but these are really, really nice as well. These are really nice as well. And it's just a little blush. It's got a mirror, and this is what the blush looks like. And this is a nice kind of corally, peachy pink matte shade, and that's what that looks like the color of cantaloupe. It's really pretty. It comes in many different shades, and I like this a lot as well. I knew I liked the foundation already. Is it my favorite foundation? No, absolutely not. I think it's a good foundation. It's really just like a good everyday foundation. You know, there's nothing really spectacular about it, but there's nothing to complain about either. It's just meh, but I like it. It doesn't do anything naughty, like dry out my skin, and it does add a little bit of hydration. It doesn't emphasize texture or my dry skin patches like on my pimples or anything like that. So it's good, and a lot of women really love it. I don't absolutely love it, but it's fine. Concealer, I'll have to leave in the description box how it did over time. I'm not sure that I necessarily got the right shade for me, but I do think that it seems like it's gonna be a good concealer. So there's that. You already know what my favorite lip products are, but I think this is gonna kind of join the batch. I'm really happy with how creamy this feels on my lips. It doesn't have any scent, nor any kind of like pepperminty or anything like that to make your lips look plumper, and I like that. Sometimes I get a little tired of that kind of thing being in lipsticks, like the strong fragrances, or worse yet is a taste or flavor, or sometimes I don't really like that pepperminty, you know, it's fine, but I don't need it. And so this is really nice, and I really like the color that I selected. I think the brow products are a good buy. It's great to stack up on the brow products. I think the mascara that I used is really nice, and I also think the Lash Craft one is really nice. I haven't tried the other ones, so if you need a new mascara or would just like to try one, I think that they're really good, and I think you'd be pleased. And the liquid eyeliners are out of this world. They did just release a bunch of like these different colored gel eyeliners that I haven't tried yet. I was gonna pick one up, but since I knew I was gonna be using that green from the palette, I just decided to stick with the eyeshadow that's already included in the palette. So yeah, there's an overview, and I hope that this helps if you're thinking about shopping the Sephora collection. 30% off for everyone. So it's a great time just to try things or stack up on your favorites. And oh, and this is a giveaway. I have an unopened Dare palette like the one I used today with the coral shades, the kind of more matte coral blush, the highlighter that's in the coral shade, and then the regular highlighter that's just sort of like your light highlighter with a little bit of strobe to it. So I'm going to be giving away one of these to one of you, and all you have to do is be a subscriber to my channel, like this video, and leave me a comment letting me know what you liked about this video. Are there any particular products that stood out to you that you thought were helpful? And yeah, and let me know, and I'll enter you into the giveaway. I'll close the giveaway 5 days after this video goes up, and within 7 to 10 days, which would be next week's videos, in either the description box or the first pinned comment, I will say who the winner is, and I usually throw in some other goodies along with whatever the giveaway item is. So if you'd like to be entered in the giveaway, that's what you need to do. I hope that you all have a blessed and beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.